Chair would like to call to order the Village of Lake Barrington regular Board of Trustees meeting for Tuesday. Oh, no worries. For Tuesday, I thought it sounded like a rock concert from where I was. It's great. Tuesday, April 5th meeting.
Okay. We're working on a new microphone. That's not
No problem.
Do we have to yell?
No problem.
No, it works.
But it works really well.
Feedback or something. So you can continue.
Yep, would the clerk please call the roll?
Sure. Trustee Burke?
Here.
Trustee Hayes? Trustee Perkins? Trustee Schaller?
Here.
Trustee Thompson?
Here.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Here.
President Richardson? Okay, in President Richardson's absence, Trustee Burke will be serving as President Pro Tem for the meeting tonight.
Thank you. Would you all please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So the first order of business is the approval of minutes, and it's my understanding that we will just be approving the regular Board of Trustees meeting minutes tonight. We will not be approving the Committee of the Whole meeting. Is that correct, Mr. Bateman? Correct.
Well, okay, so the minutes that are before you are the regular minutes of the Committee of the Whole, not the executive session of the Committee of the Whole. So you still don't want us to approve the Committee of the Whole regular meeting minutes?
No. Those Committee of the Whole minutes should always be approved at the Committee of the Whole.
Okay, I thought you meant just the executive session in the Committee
No,
of the Whole.
I'm not distinguishing executive session, I'm distinguishing Committee of the Whole versus regular board
Okay,
meeting.
so we'll put that on next month's agenda.
Well,
On the Committee of the Whole agenda.
the next Committee of the
Whole
Whole
agenda.
meeting agenda, which will be next month, I suspect, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, so there will be no approval of those minutes. There will be approval of the regular meetings from March. Are there any questions or edits, clarifications on those meeting minutes?
Which ones, I'm sorry, of the full meeting?
Of the full meeting?
One suggestion, I was not in attendance, and yet my name is listed for some of the votes. So if we could,
Who were not in attendance?
correct.
Okay.
I will fix that. Thank you for letting me know.
Can we approve those conditionally with those being changed?
Subject to that correction.
Subject to correction? Okay. Thank you. Are there any other comments, edits? If none, I'd like a motion to approve the Board of Trustees meeting from March the 1st, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Trustee Schaller,
Second?
seconded by Trustee Van Ryn. Thank you. Would you please call the roll?
Sure. Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
That's a short list. Thank you.
Comes around fast, doesn't it?
It does come around fast. Very good. Next item on our agenda are the President's remarks, and as our clerk mentioned, I am sitting in for President Richardson, who is somewhere off in the Caribbean, hopefully having a wonderful time. His bride has taken him there for a very significant birthday celebration. I will not be specific about which one. It just falls exactly halfway between 60 and 70, something. So, and that also makes him eligible for certain other kinds of benefits. So it's a happy day. We wish him a belated happy birthday, and I spoke to him today. He's having a wonderful time. And so happy to be here so he can be there tonight. The other item we have tonight on President's remarks is I'm very happy to introduce to you Mr. Alan Ross, who is the new owner of one of the newest businesses here in Lake Barrington. Yes, please come up to the podium, and start by stating your name, please, and then what we would just love to learn a little bit about you, a little bit about your business. This is your opportunity to tell us and the rest of Lake Barrington all about this exciting new business. So welcome.
Thank you. My name's Alan Ross. I am a co-owner of Sure Shot Laser, which is located at 22272 Pepper Road, just down the road. And we are opening this coming week. We are a laser target range. And when we came here to apply for our permit to do business, there was a lot of question and discussion about what exactly that is. And what it is a target range using laser technology instead of ammunition. Sometimes referred to as dry fire range. The technology that we employ, the equipment that we use, was originally developed for training for law enforcement for target shooting, to increase their accuracy, to run scenarios, those things that you see in the movies with the FBI, where they have in the old movies, where they used to have the cardboard cutouts pop up and it's a mom with a baby, don't shoot it, and there's a bad guy with a gun, shoot that one. It has that kind of scenario that it runs, and also, things like cans and skeet and your general outline target. It has a projector that projects these images. It has a camera that senses the laser beam and scores your shooting as you go, tells you where you've hit, where you've missed. And so you get the experience of shooting without using ammunition. I like to call it the reward without the risk. And no matter how well trained you are or how careful you are, there's always the risk of an accidental discharge or an accident happening. I was listening to the radio last week. There was a shooting range in a suburb to the east of here. One of the employees was at the desk, had accidental discharge, wounded himself in the leg, and the ricochet wounded a customer.
Yeah, I saw that.
It happens. But with our range, there's no ammunition, there's no risk. There's nothing going to be fired because there's nothing to fire. And so it's a safe way to experience the feel of firing a gun. Questions?
As is customary, we'll go around the dais. We'll start from my right.
How did you get into this business?
Well, my partner was working with someone who was doing seminars for law enforcement, things like helping with PSTD and such. And they were at a conference in St. Louis and met the gentleman who was representing this technology and actually was considering becoming a sales rep for the company. And I said, well, why don't you just buy some and open a range? And she said, oh, that's a thought. And so that's how we ended up doing this.
How many, I don't know, if they're lanes or what they have for it?
Well, we have built out the space to have 6 lanes in what we call a situation room, and the lanes are about 8 feet wide, and there's a wall that comes out 12 feet, but you can stand farther back if you want. So you'll stand anywhere from 12 to 15 feet from the screen where the projections are. So there's 6 of those lanes. The situation room is about 22 foot square, and it has a screen in front. And for that simulation, you can move about. That's one of the things that we hope also to perhaps have law enforcement do training at this facility. And so I'm not sure, when you train, do you have situations where you're moving around in a room, or is it all standing and targeting? Okay, so that this room being 20 foot square would allow for some of that scenario-based training that law enforcement does undertake. So we hope to attract law enforcement to this facility to use it for training, as well as for, the general public. The acting president was saying he's looking forward to coming to our grand opening, and his wife, who will not shoot a gun, was interested in this because it's safe and it's not an actual gun. And so there is that segment of the population that would like to shoot, but they're just not sure about holding something that could cause bodily harm. And so this takes away that risk and lets them enjoy the experience. And for those that do shoot, it provides a training or a practice not as expensive as using live rounds, which are fairly expensive. And if you go to a regular shooting range, you can, end up dropping a fair amount of change on that. This is, I think, more cost effective.
Does any of this training, lead to allowing people to get their cards or FOIA cards?
At this point, no, but we are considering undertaking the training that it takes to teach a conceal and carry class. You don't need any training to get a FOID card, a firearm owner's identification card. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just got one. I didn't have to go on any training. But to get a concealed carry permit, there is a safety course that has to be done in order to receive that. So we're considering possibly taking the training to be able to do that.
Final question, what are your hours? When are you going to be open?
Well, at this point, we're taking appointments over phone, and as we do that, we will be plotting when people are interested in coming and then open at that point to the hours where people are most likely to come. But at this point, we're just going on reservation basis.
Very good. Wish you all the very, very best.
Thank you.
Added
Appreciate
service
that.
for our community, and I've never shot a gun. Maybe I'll try.
As to my knowledge, there exists 2 other ranges of this type in the country, one in upstate New York and one in Las Vegas. So this would be as far as I know, only the third of its nature.
Thank you.
Trustee Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem President.
You can call me Andy.
First, welcome to Lake Barrington,
Thank you.
Alan. The weapons that are used, are they the same weight as traditional pistols?
I think they are very similar in weight. Similar. I'm not sure if they're exact. They appear, well, we have two different guns. They're both modeled after a Glock. One is orange and one is black, but it has the red safety tip to be identified as not an actual gun. The orange gun is strictly laser. The black gun has a magazine that holds a compressed gas, which, when the trigger is pulled, will then simulate recoil. It doesn't have as heavy of a recoil as an actual gun, but it has enough that you have to recalibrate your aim between trigger pulls to sort of simulate that same kind of correction that you'd have to use with a real gun. And they both make sounds. The sound is through it. The whole system runs through a computer, and the computer has a speaker. And so, for the orange gun, you have a pop that is coming out through the speakers of the computer, and the black gun has its own actual sound, which is the gas, creating that recoil.
Thank you. Do I understand that you're having a grand opening coming up?
Yes. I believe you are all invited. It's Saturday,
Yes.
1 to 4.
Is that this Saturday?
This Saturday.
Thank you.
And then, starting Monday, we're taking reservations for lanes.
Thank you.
Alan, it's very nice to meet you. I'm wondering, what attracted you to Lake Barrington as a place to open your business?
Well, my partner lives in Barrington and was scouting locations here. And so we came across this space on Pepper Road that had been a retail outlet for pet food. And during, I guess, the pandemic, when retail walk-in lessened, they got more of their business happening on a online basis, and so they decided to close their walk-in space and just used our warehouse and shipped things. And so that space became available. We thought it was a good location. It's right across from the Wild Onion. There's a lot of entertainment. There's a skating rink. I think there's gymnastic classes. There's things of entertainment type in the area, so it was attractive to us for that reason.
And is there a particular demographic that you're hoping to attract more than others?
People over the age of 14 to 18, accompanied by an adult, and any adult. I frankly don't think that I think that will attract people from all demographics.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Great.
So.
And I'm curious what plans you have to promote your business.
Well, we're doing the social media and things like that, and not really sure. I'm open to suggestions. I mean, I'm kind of new to retail, so live and learn, kind of pick it up as you go.
There you go. Well, we wish you all the very best, and as the lead of our Branding and Communications Committee, I'd be happy to brainstorm with you if you'd like at some point about how to promote your business.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we are thrilled that you're here. We do have some very talented people up at this dais, and our goal collectively, as you know, I chair the Economic Development Committee, and that means my role is threefold. It's to attract new businesses like yourself, and it's to help existing businesses grow and thrive. And we collaborate, and we want to collaborate with you any way that we can. So as you have ideas and let us know. And the other thing, because you're part of this sort of, you mentioned, and I delighted in the fact that you mentioned that there are other entertainment sources here, and a great coffee shop, a great pub and restaurants in the area. So, we are continuing to find ways to pull all that together, pull the owners together. And, there's a lot of, cross merchandising and branding and things going on between, so I would encourage you, and we can introduce you to people to get to know the Onion Pub people, get to know the Pepper Park Coffee people, because you're going to have potential clients in there and vice versa. And so you can have their information.
Absolutely.
They come in to shoot, and then they want to go have a beverage or something to eat, and it's like, hey, and they may not be familiar with the area, because you're the destination.
Yeah.
Be great. I would think other businesses would want you to know that we have a coffee shop down the road and a nice, pub and those kinds of things. So there really are opportunities, Alan, for you to do some co-promoting and branding.
Absolutely. We also have been thinking about it being a venue for corporate events, team building things. So that's another usage that we've considered for the facility.
And last but not least, my big question is, how have you found it so far working with the staff here at the Village of Barrington when it comes to getting the necessary paperwork and permitting and other items?
It's been a lot easier than I thought dealing with a bureaucracy would be. I mean, we've had real good experience with the fire department, which is just down the street too. And so, the inspection process, the permitting process, it's all been, pretty easy. And, not fraught with frustration, which one tends to think of with government. No offense.
Well, that's music to our ears, because we promote ourselves as the village that's easy to do business with, and we sure don't want to not be that if that's how we promote ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we pride ourselves that we've actually had business owners, and some with pretty vast experience, let's say in the northwest suburbs, who you can't take for granted that these wheels of bureaucracy will always turn quickly and smoothly, because sometimes it simply doesn't for various reasons. And we try to make that happen, and it all comes down to a collaboration. If you come prepared and you know what you want to do and you work with us, we're going to work with you. So I'm thrilled that that's been your experience. That is certainly what we aim for, pun intended. So, I was speaking, before the meeting, with Mr. Ross, and I said that my wife was going to be accompanying me to the open house. In fact, I said something about going to the open house, and she said, I want to go to the open house, because she has one of those people who really wants to learn to shoot a gun, and I'm one of those people who really doesn't want her to learn to shoot a gun. So this is the compromise, and I'm hoping she becomes a regular there and says, I'm going over to shoot, laser guns, not the other type, right?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. It'll be very interesting, because I think when you talk about demographics, particularly women who love the idea of this, but not the idea of handling a lethal weapon, and it scares them. And I'm not saying just women, but in particular, my wife sort of, on one hand, really wants to learn. On the other, her father was a big outdoorsman, and he taught her how to shoot shotguns and stuff, but it still scares her. It's scary for her, but she likes it. So I think this could be really interesting to see how she reacts to it.
Yeah.
So, we'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, 1 to 4.
Thank you for being here, and we wish you all the best, and at any time you need something from these talented people, reach out, please.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Next item on the agenda is the first opportunity for the public to address the board on non-agenda items, and since I don't see anyone here who wants to do that, then we can move to item 7, which is our consent agenda. For the night, we have 2 items here on the consent agenda. One is the consideration of resolution regarding closed session minutes and audio recordings, and the other is concerts at Friar Farm. So starting with the first, resolution regarding closed session minutes and audio recordings,
I think we have to delay this till next month, correct, Jim? Because it includes the committee of the whole minutes that you're saying it has to be approved in the committee of the whole?
Yes. That's true.
In Exhibit A, it talks about the closed session minutes. So we can wait until next month for this, and so we'll just remove that from the agenda, or do you?
Well, you
we
can
need
do the one, you can just delete that item on the resolution and adopt.
Well, then we have to do 2 resolutions, so
Yeah, okay.
I think it'd be easier just to wait till next month and do them
so
all.
we'll just wait till next month. Do we need to do anything in particular in order to do that, or just agree?
Take this off the agenda?
To agree to do that, or?
Yeah, just
Do we,
consensus to defer.
we need consensus to defer?
Yeah.
And do we need to vote on that, or just?
No.
Oh, okay. So does anyone have any,
No objection?
objection?
No.
Okay, so we have consensus to defer that item until next month.
So then we have,
So then we simply have the one other item, which is concerts at Friar Farm. Trustee Thompson, are you taking this one, or who's taking this one? Or is-
you want me to take it, Lisa?
Go ahead,
or
go ahead.
Okay,
who
so-
wants to take it?
Well, it's basically, the same as last year when the village needs to give ourselves a, Class K liquor license, for special use. It's a temporary, so that people can bring their own beverages, to the concerts on July 21st and August 18th, from 7 to 9 p.m. at Friar Farm. So the motion is to approve the temporary use special event application and the Class K special temporary license for the concerts at Friar Farm on July 21st and August 18th of this year.
Got it, understand. Does anyone have a question or concern about this item? Any discussion required at this point? Okay, so Chair would like a motion to approve temporary use special event event application and Class K special temporary license for the concerts at Friar Farm on July 21st and August 18th. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Moved by trustee Thompson and seconded by trustee Schaller. Would the clerk please call the vote?
Trustee Thompson,
Yes.
trustee Schaller.
Yes.
Trustee Burke,
Yes.
and trustee Van Ryn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Agenda item number 8 is our treasurer's report. Mrs. Hirsch, welcome.
Good evening, thank you. So tonight before us, we have the financial statements for the 10 months ended February 28, 2022. So we're 10/12, so about 80% or so through our fiscal year. You can see on page 2 that we have total assets of $3,949,000. Our current liabilities at $1,332,000, and our equity at $2,617,000.
Can I just stop you for a second from here? She's still pretty echoey.
I feel echoey.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me try to see if I can
And I'm not,
adjust this.
Yeah.
just because you
hard to
talking
talk.
now to us this way, it's really kind of pronounced.
Well, it's hard to talk when you're echoing back on yourself, too.
Now try me.
It's still echoey.
I don't hear, now it will.
Now I do.
It's even louder.
Now.
Okay, now. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm noticing it more for some reason when you were talking than when I was talking.
okay, so.
Or anybody up here, I
Yeah.
wasn't noticing it that much, but I was really noticing it there.
Yeah.
Keep going, Peggy, and I'll play
That's
with your
fine. I just-
adjustments here.
Okay.
Didn't mean to interrupt, I just.
What I'm
I
saying is
know
really
we're
important, if you want to hear
fine-tuning.
it twice.
Yep, yep.
I'm kidding, actually, but anyways, okay, so revenue for the 10 months is $3,175,000, and expenses are $2,923,000, and that's a current net income of $252,000. That compared to this point last year, we had net income of $600,000. I will mention, though, as our budgeting is, we've done some work, and we're estimating income for the year to end at $313,000 roughly. So we're, expecting to pick up a little more revenue in the next 2 months. And then what we typically do in the flash report, you'll see that bolded line, we pull out what we call extraordinary expenses. And this year we have major road work, and we have a lot of Featherland expenses that we pull out. When we pull those numbers out, well, we really have regular operation at net income, it's like a tongue twister, sorry, of $1,027,000, and that compared to this point last year at $690,000. So that's kind of an apples-to-apples comparison. So you see we're up quite a bit from last year. We did have one item this month that I'm adding to that major roadwork project number that we're pulling out, and I do like to mention those each month, and that was a $32,500 payment to Chicagoland Paving, and that was for the last payment for the parking lot at Featherling. So we're done with that now. That was a final payment for that parking lot. So you can see at this point over last year, income tax is up about 22%. Sales tax did come in as expected this month, slightly higher than last month, and there were some seasonal revenues in there, to increase that slightly. To date, our municipal sales share of sales tax is up almost $182,000 from last year. Combining that with our added home rule sales tax, total sales tax is up almost $308,000 over last year, so that's quite an increase. Increases in sales tax are actually way larger than the declines in use tax. We've talked in the past about there's a little bit of interplay there, but certainly not the one-for-one that I had been concerned about, early in the year. On the expense side, our building plan and review and inspection expense, is up significantly from last year, but that's in correlation with the added revenue, so there's no concern there. The balance sheet, that's on page 3, those accounts have all been reviewed and looked at. All the bank statements have been reconciled, and that's there for your free review. We can flip forward to page 11 and 12, and that'll be our budget to actual for the general fund. And you can see on page 11, our total revenues are at 98% actual budget, so we're almost at budget, and we still have 2 months to go. And we have our major outliers there, which we've talked about each month, but there's still our outliers, so income tax is at 102% over budget, and with 2 months to go, once again. Real estate tax is right about 99%. We have a little bit straggling in, but the majority of that's been collected, that we get 2 payments in April and September. So we'll have a little bit straggling in to get up to 100%, by year end. Our sales tax is 127% over budget, and our building permit revenue is 153% over budget. These are all over budget. As you can see, we have 2 months to go. So we're having a very good fiscal year to date. Total expenses, if you look now on page 12, you'll see down below, total expenditures are 80% actual to budget, so we're trending pretty close to budget. Everything's pretty much as expected. There's a few outliers there, which we've talked about in the past. Financial services is higher than budgeted. That's because we hired Lauterbach to replace our internal accountant, and that was not planned when we did budgeting last year. Plan review and inspection, that's higher than budget, but that has to do with the higher building permit revenues. And our exterior property maintenance is a little bit higher than expected. We did some projects during the year that were not initially anticipated. So that's all I have on the general fund. Happy to answer any questions before I move on to motor fuel tax.
Any questions for the treasurer?
Okay, page 13, you'll see the motor fuel tax fund. The only thing we're doing in there, in that fund this year, is collecting revenue to be spent next year. We have $608,000 in net current assets. No plans to use that this year, but it will all be spent next year, as we've discussed in our budget meetings on road work.
And just a point of clarification, because I know it's going fast, is that when Ms. Hirsch says this year and next year, she's talking about fiscal year. So this money will be spent this calendar year, but
Right.
next fiscal year.
Good point, yes.
I'm spending it all.
But she's spending it all, yes.
She's laying claim, clearly.
She's living the dream next
Got a
year.
big,
She's
big
spending it
summer
all.
plans, I say.
Okay, we turn to page 18, the water sewer fund. That fund, that's the income statement. The balance sheet is on page 17, and you'll see we have net current assets in that fund of $1.8 million. In that fund, we do like to keep that at a pretty significant balance for any future heavy repair work, which will be needed at some point in that fund. There's no future capital for expenditures for this year. We only have 2 months left, and nothing major to discuss in that fund. So that's all I have on the funds. Before I get to accounts payable, any questions on the financial statements?
Any questions?
Yeah, I'll just bring up a few, on the warrants, I'll just bring up a few invoices to note. There's a request for Acoustic Associates for $1,350, and that's for services related to the noise study at Tail Chasers. Minuteman Press for $2,113.09, and that's for the spring newsletter that was sent out recently. There's also in the Open Space Bond Fund, there's a request for $62,448.75 interest payment. That's due on April 15th. We pay principal in October and interest only in April. And then on the warrant B, there's just one sort of unusual request. That's Cuba Township for $1,510.72, and that's for culvert removal and replacement. And that's all I have, but happy to discuss any of the other items on there.
Are there any questions for the treasurer on any of these items? Then if there are no questions, Chair would like a motion to approve in block financial statements as of February 28th, 2022. Pay bills in the amount of $230,126.41 as listed on the accounts payable warrant A, dated April 5th. Pay bills in the amount of, someone have that? I don't have that number in front of me. Oh, $72,775.97 as listed on the accounts payable warrant B, dated today?
Yep.
April the 5th, 2022. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Thompson,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Van Ryn. Have a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Thompson,
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn,
Yes.
Trustee Burke,
Yes.
Trustee Schaller.
Yes. Approved, thank you very much. Moving right along to agenda item number 9, the administrator's report.
Sure. We spent a lot of time this evening talking about future road programs. But I wanted to also let you know that last week, we made an application to the Lake County Council of Mayors for about $700,000 in federal funds. And that would go to resurface and make ADA improvements on Pepper Road. And it's for the Surface Transportation Program. The STP program has certain requirements. Right now, only Pepper Road in our town would meet those requirements because it has to have a certain ADT, or average daily traffic. It has to be more regional in nature and typically supporting like a major arterial. And so this goes from Northwest Highway to Kelsey. There's a lot of truck traffic. That's also another thing. So if you recall, a couple of months ago, Trustee Perkins or myself reported on the traffic counts we were doing. That was one of the needed components to make this application to the feds. And it's through the Lake County Council of Mayors. Right now, it is expected that they would make their decision on what to program, which means would this project be selected? If it is selected, it'll be several years before it gets allocated any money. So it's not even in our 5-year plan right now. So it might be in our 5-year plan next year after we know more about it, but it's the first step in a long process to get the federal government to pay 80% of road work for certain projects. So I was very pleased to get that submitted. The other thing is, last week I attended the 2.5-day conference of the ILCMA in Bloomington. It was a great conference. It was nice to see people back in person again and to have that networking with other administrators and vendors and so forth. The sessions, they had a lot of good sessions for such a short, conference period, but one of them was evaluating new sources of revenue, which we've done somewhat in the past, but they have other things to think about. Cybersecurity, which is always a big topic with us, and I think I reported last month we're in the process of getting two-factor authentication to log onto our computers here at Village Hall, and the Village laptops is just one more safety measure, and the bad actors, as they're called, are getting more and more robust. So I heard a horror story from the city of Champaign, and the city of Champaign, and the other person on the panel was from the University of Illinois at Champaign, who used to be connected to the hospital down there, but no longer after an attack. So it kind of really brought home, like, some of the things that are happening. We're fortunate, we're a smaller town, but it could happen to anyone, and so they relayed their lessons learned on that. So it was a very good conference, so thank you for allowing me to attend. It was delayed. It was supposed to be the beginning of February, but COVID numbers weren't so hot then, so they said, let's go for the end of March, and hopefully we'll be able to meet in person, and that's what happened. So, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the administrator?
Yes, I have one.
Yeah.
The second factor authentication, are we going to do that?
The two-factor,
Yeah,
that'll be on our computers here at work.
okay. What
and
about our laptop? I mean,
Not
our
because you have personal.
iPads?
No, because you don't have access to
Okay.
our cloud where we store our files. But, yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. And agenda item number 10, the clerk's report.
Thank you. I want to give a reminder that yard waste collection has started. That started April 1st and runs through November 30th. If you have any questions about that or want details about that, that is on our website. And you'll see that I've updated it to include curbside composting that we are going to be heavily promoting to our residents now. So you'll see a lot of that information going out in our newsletters, at events, through our social media, just to let them know that they can do this. I think we found that there may be 3 or 4 residents that are doing it currently, and so we're going to try and promote that to see if we can get more people using our curbside compost program.
And I would just like to interject, the reason we're gonna be promoting it more is because Lisa obtained a $5,000 grant through SWACO, for them to assist us in the social media promotions and the word. So she's been working with their consultants and moving along. So-
Very nice, congratulations.
Exciting.
Thank you. Are there questions for the clerk? I have one.
Okay.
Can you guys explain a little bit more about the curbside composting, just how it works?
Sure, yeah. So you can put it in the bags, the yard waste bags, the paper bags, just add your compost to that, and it's all food scraps, including like bones and paper, even if it's soiled paper. Or you can get a container of your own. Waste Management does not provide them, so you can
Okay,
get a
that was
container of your
kind
own
of,
that's
so Waste
lidded.
Management is not providing any of the types
No,
of containers?
they are
So
not
this is,
doing that.
we're on our own for that?
Yes.
And
So
do we
we're-
label them, do we label them?
Yeah, you should
according-
label it, so
Do we
they
need
know
stickers,
it.
or is it just we write on it?
You do need stickers.
I play a good straight man.
Yeah, you do need to put a sticker on the either container or the bag, and they're gonna be changing the stickers. Right now, the stickers say yard waste. They're gonna be changing them once they run out of the old stickers. So eventually, you'll see that they'll say yard and food waste on them.
So,
Yeah,
so it'll be still one sticker, it won't have its
yes.
own unique sticker?
No, it won't.
And then Waste Management will have to, what, differentiate? They gotta
No.
open the bag and
You can
poke
put-
around in there?
No, they just,
You can put everything that's compostable,
Compostable?
thank you, in the same bag. So
Yeah.
your
Oh, I
vegetable
get it.
scraps,
So-
your coffee
So
ground,
any kind of yard,
but not your pizza boxes, not greasy things.
No, but what you're saying is anything that you would normally put in,
Your compost,
yes.
you can put in this bag if you
Yeah.
no,
don't.
well,
And
what
then-
I'm saying, I'm trying to say it differently. Any yard waste that you have, you can now add compost
Correct.
to that, is what
Yes,
you're saying.
yes.
So they don't have to distinguish, is what you're saying. There's
Right.
no distinguishing.
Right. We are heavily suggesting that you use a lidded container, though, because of all the animals we have around
Yeah.
here. They'll smell it and may get into it, and then you've got a mess to clean up.
Got it.
So
So simply put, if you had your own sealed container,
that would be ideal.
then you get the sticker for it.
Mhm.
You set it on the curb on a regular,
Yep, every Wednesday.
every
Mhm.
Wednesday,
Mhm.
and then Waste Management is now, it's
Mm-hmm.
incumbent upon them to make the distinction, and they will treat it accordingly.
Yes.
That's how it
Yeah,
works.
it's already in our contract that they'll pick up
They've-
food waste
got
scraps,
it.
they just don't, they haven't promoted it
They
yet.
haven't promoted it, and they're
Right.
not providing the little the containers.
Containers,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can pick one up at Home Depot or somewhere, so. But I'll be putting more information about that. You'll be seeing more on social media and that, more specifics soon.
Great,
So it'll be really clear to everybody, and
great.
hopefully
Well, no, that's
people do it.
good work. I appreciate that. I didn't realize that we were utilizing Waste Management services, but why they weren't more engaged. And I get it. They're not promoting it. We are. In effect, we're promoting it, but using a service that's already contracted with them.
Correct.
Stickers still $1.75?
Yes, they are.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Agenda item number 11 are reports of the standing committees. I think I'll bat first here and take on COVID and economic development. They're very short reports. I think most of us are well aware, again, with COVID, that we continue to see decline or steady, holding steady, a decline in very low rates of positivity, hospitalizations, et cetera. We're very, very keeping our fingers crossed at this point that as warmer weather comes, it continues to subside, and there's been a little bit of movement in other parts of the world, but nothing yet that suggests for us that we're in line for another variant or something that's going to spike again. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we're going to keep it down and start, as the new buzzword says, when it becomes endemic instead of pandemic, meaning we will be living with this. It doesn't go away, but we live with lots of things, lots of disease, and we deal with that, and we have vaccinations, and we have treatments, and we do those things, but it's with us. Hopefully it's just with us at a level where we can go about our business and live what we would call back to normal lives, whatever those were. With that said, there's been a lot of discussion, and I think that it's probably prudent at this point to disband the task force, if you will. We really haven't had an active task force on this for a while. We've done basic reporting, and the fact of the matter is the reporting is readily available online. The relevant was the things that we were doing unique in our community to educate and to assist both residents and business owners at a time of tremendous hardship and challenge. And at this point, those same hardships and challenges don't exist, and our need to be at the forefront of that doesn't really exist. And unless anyone here had a severe objection to disbanding the task force, I think what we would do is put it in abeyance if nothing else. We won't necessarily report on that unless there's something report-worthy, and we could add it as an agenda item, right?
Yep.
If we can just call it an agenda item, say there's something worth talking about as it relates to that, that's the goal. So we're talking, Jim, about disbanding the COVID-19 task force at this point, simply because the need doesn't appear to exist, but if and when it does, we know how to put it back together. I would be remiss if I didn't remind people that back in our heyday, the task force was a task force, and everybody at this dais and some who have since are no longer on the board played significant roles, and everybody here played a role. Everybody here played a role that was kind of concurrent with the committees that they lead, and it worked out very, very nicely. And people reported in with their regular reports those COVID-related items. So I just want to say that I appreciate the work that everybody did during that time. It's immeasurable amounts of work, and with staff. The amount of work that COVID caused staff at that time was immense. All the public outreach, all the business outreach, all the things that were going on, and everything that was just made harder by the way we were trying to do business together. So thanks to staff, thanks to my fellow trustees for that. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed that there's no future need for that. But if it does arise, we have shown that we rise to the occasion, and I'm very pleased and very proud of what we did as a team at that time. And I think in the postmortem, our businesses have been very complimentary, and our residents have been very complimentary of our communication and our actions during this time to help them all through a difficult time. So from that standpoint, I think it was very, very successful and a good time, hopefully, to put it to bed for now.
And interestingly enough, the county has just stopped doing their monthly updates that
Right.
they were doing every
Right.
other week, and then once a month, they just
Right.
sent out an email saying they were
Yep.
ceasing that.
So I think,
Good note.
I think it's the right time to
Yeah.
do that. And like I said, we know how to put it back together if we need to, but let's just hope there's no need to do that. So thanks for everyone's support.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I just have, may I make one comment, please?
Yes, I was going to see if there were other
I'm sorry.
questions or comments.
I
By all
just-
means. Distinguished colleague, please.
Oh.
With the green sweater vest.
I just wanted to laud you for your leadership in this, because this has been one of the most important, pardon me, one of the most important issues we've had since it began, and I think the way you handled this and worked through it was really good, and I want to thank you for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It was my pleasure, and it was important work, and my wife would say it gave me something to do. That made her very happy, because I was not bothering her. So, it was a great team effort, and I appreciate that very much. My other report on economic development is very short and sweet, and with Alan Ross here tonight from Sure Shot, very happy that we have a new business opening here. I don't know if you were going to report out on the release. Are you going to report on that? Okay, so I won't steal your thunder on that. One other item that we're working on, and I'm just happy to say that Saturday night I'm going out to dinner at our local restaurant, the Monaco's, and I'm bringing 3 other Lake Barrington couples with me who have never been. So I called the proprietor myself and said, give me your best table. They'll be right next to the kitchen, no problem.
In the parking lot.
So it'll be exciting to be taking some new people there,
Yes, indeed.
with a big party, so,
I took a couple, 4 of us went for a New Year's Eve, which was nice.
great. So anyhow, and, I'm saying that, and I love all of our businesses and all of our restaurants, and I support every one of them. With them still being new, I would still like to plug them as often as we can, because they're still getting their feet underneath them and building their clientele, so. And that is my reports. So next, we would have, branding and communications, Trustee Van Ryn.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Karen and Lisa and everyone, including Max Strategies, who contributed to our March newsletter. The spring newsletter was absolutely beautiful, so full of important information, and so I applaud the team for publishing that and distributing it, so important. Second, LinkedIn, we continue to gain traction on our LinkedIn page. We've reached a milestone of 70 connections, so I'm pleased with that, and hopefully we continue to grow that. We've featured several of our trustees now, President Richardson with a Q&A, so that opportunity continues to be available. We'll expand that to staff members as well, so another great communication tool for us to talk about our community. And then, Andy, you alluded to this. We put together a press release talking about the growth of Lake Barrington from an economic development perspective, and we've had 4 new businesses open over the past 2 years, not including the one that Alan talked about this evening, so I think that's a follow-up opportunity. In talking with Max Strategies, what we're going to do is pitch this press release out to a few local media, including Chicago Trib, Daily Herald, and others, in the hopes of securing some interview opportunities for both President Richardson and Trustee Burke, and get some more momentum there, some media coverage and potential interest from other business owners. It was great to hear why Alan picked Lake Barrington, getting that messaging out to others and attracting more business. So that press release should be going out next week. We'll have some follow-on opportunities. I plan to attend the open house this weekend and take some pictures, so we'll continue the communication momentum and hopefully drive even more business growth.
Great. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Good job.
Sorry.
No problem.
Are you adding, is Cranes on that list, the media list?
It should be, you're right.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Asking if Cranes was going to be on the media list.
Thank you very much. Moving on, there is no report on external relations tonight. I don't believe that Trustee Hayes left anything in,
Yeah, nothing.
outside of budget discussions that we've been having. Anything on infrastructure or open spaces for Trustee Perkins in her absence?
Yeah, just that you'll be voting later on to award the contract for this year's 2022 road program.
Okay. Thank you. Next, public safety with Trustee Schaller.
Thank you, Pro Tem President Burke.
That's easy for you to say.
I know.
You did that well.
I'll start out with Lieutenant Couric. Come forward and let us know what's happening in the county now that spring is trying to arrive and maybe it stopped snowing for a day.
Good evening. Just a short report, more of a reminder than anything. We've had no major issues that I'm aware of in Lake Barrington as far as law enforcement response is concerned. With the warmer weather, I have seen across the county an increase in burglary to vehicles. So I would just encourage everybody to, number one, keep their vehicles locked when they're on their driveways, and number two, remove your valuables from within sight. So don't provide anybody an opportunity to take your valuables out of your car. In addition, another area that has been pretty much plaguing the entire Chicagoland area is vehicle theft. So I would also encourage people not to leave their key fobs in their center console. So keep them in your pocket, keep them in your purse, whatever you do, do not leave them in your car. You're just giving everybody, the people that wanna commit these crimes an easy opportunity to take your wonderful car that would probably be hard to replace at this point, so. That's all I have, unless somebody had some additional.
Have we had, I mean, I know Chicago has an awful lot of car, teenage, young adult thefts. Have we had much of that in the county?
We've had a fair amount. I mean,
Yeah.
it's made its way into to all the suburbs, so, and many times it's, they'll just go from, house to house and just look for the car that's open and then hit the start button. Like many of the cars today have. It's not the key in the ignition, it's the start button, and when the car is turned on, then they just drive away. So, I really just take that extra step and remove that key fob from the vehicle and bring it with you.
There was something on the internet about putting your key fob in aluminum foil or something so they couldn't access it from a computer.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. I'm sure that there's some people that are pretty tech savvy that maybe can do certain things, but, I'll have to research that for you. I think you're best, if they want it that bad, I guess,
They might as well take it, yeah.
I think those are the same people signaling the UFOs overhead as they fly by.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they wrap themselves in Reynolds wrap.
In Reynolds wrap, right.
Other questions for Lieutenant Kurt? Other questions? I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Related to car theft, which is catalytic converter theft. Are we seeing that in the suburbs?
Yeah, we've had several occurrences that in Lake County.
Have we?
A lot of times it's, we've had it hit car dealerships, landscape yards where they have a bunch of vehicles parked, overnight. They steal the catalytic converters because of the precious metals contained within. But yeah, we have seen a number of occurrences of that, so. And as far as protecting yourself with that, maybe security lighting to thwart that kind of attack on your personal property.
Yeah, I know in the city of Chicago and other major metropolitan areas that these theft rings are pretty brazen. They'll go out in daylight. It takes them no time at all.
Right.
I've seen doorbell videos of, a two-person car pull up, they kind of block from the street. It's parked right on the street. Guy slides under there, he's got his stuff, and, 2 minutes later, they open the trunk and he throws it on top of like 7 others that are already in the trunk of that car, and they move on. I mean, it's pretty amazing how brazen it is. And I have had 3 daughters that lived in the city of Chicago and 2 that lost catalytic converters last summer.
Oh, wow.
So that's like kind of, the odds don't seem like that would be true, but.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So it's a big deal. And then, we took the Ford to Wickstrom Ford right here in Barrington and, get a new one. And I said, can you just go buy that one back from who? Get it cheap. He goes, that's probably where it's coming from. Anyhow, just curious because it's pretty rampant in a lot of areas, and I've only heard scattered reports out here.
We have had some instances, not any that I'm aware of in Lake Barrington, but in other areas of the county, we have seen that.
Yeah. A lot of it you mentioned too, it's a little bit about density, and they need enough opportunity. The city makes it so easy because there's just so many cars and so many parked outside on the street, kind of very vulnerably.
I know we've had a landscape firm in Lake County, and, they have all their trucks and cars parked up, and they just go truck to truck, and,
Right. Right.
Very good. Well, as always, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate the work that you and the whole team do, and we certainly appreciate you being with us for these meetings.
Thank you, sir.
Spending time with us. Thanks for your report. Thank you. As far as the Lake County Sheriff's Department, Karen and I, again, get the monthly activity report for Lake Barrington, and just a numbers game. There were 43 additional calls in Lake Barrington Shores, 27 additional at Lake Barrington Woods. And the other interesting part, there's 69 down in the industrial park, additional calls, so we're getting, maybe that's to our detriment that we're having a number of calls when compared to our other suburbs, but we certainly get activity that the sheriff's department oversees within.
I was told they log those as calls, but it's not always a person calling.
Oh, no.
It can be,
It's a
they
noise
decide,
complaint or a follow-up on it.
or they could just patrol it again,
Yeah,
and it goes on that list. So
even
it's
the extra patrol.
right, I just don't want to get the impression
Yeah.
that, like, that many people are calling for assistance
Yeah,
all
no,
the time in
yeah.
Industrial Park. It can be the officer decides to take another patrol, and it
Through
goes on
yeah,
that list.
Yeah. But we are
Good
getting
distinction.
control,
Yeah,
throughout the
yeah.
entire community and
Right.
the industrial area.
All good.
The Barrington Countryside Fire Protection District officially opened station number 39 yesterday. That's the new station that's down on Highway 59, just south of the village of Barrington. The station cost them $6 million to build. Pepper Construction built it. You think that's a lot? Rolling Meadows built a similar fire station. It cost them $12 million. So, they got, it's quite a facility. I was there Monday. It's tradition that when you open a station or you get a new piece of equipment like that, you push it into the station. Well, you really don't push it, but we do have a picture of 10 people pushing this great big engine into station number 39. It was in neutral and it was idling, and they helped push it in, but it's tradition. But it's a fantastic facility, and while they were dedicating it, they had an ambulance run, so they had the first call out of the station while we were all actually there.
I drove by it today on my way into town, and I did like a triple,
Yeah.
because when I left, it was like half finished,
Finished,
and,
yeah.
and then it was like, wow,
And
it's
Pepper,
really
I
nice
mean,
looking.
Pepper Construction out of Barrington, I was amazed at the beautiful job they did. They do some very, very nice work, and they were even saying that they went over and above what they normally would do. There was certain paint selection or certain things like that, that they, is all part of it, but that they took pride in what they did, and so that it's a beautiful facility. So they're gonna have a grand opening, with tours in May, and so I would encourage anyone to, even though it's not right in the village, it's Barrington Countryside, they're half of our department, and they're, of course, down to the laser, right by the laser place, so it's good to hear that they're cooperating with them.
Yeah.
As far as the Wakanda Fire Department, Chief Gary has been there for about 4 or 5 years. He has announced his retirement. He's retiring May 20th. Pat Kane, who has been an assistant, will take over as fire chief. Pat Kane has been involved with the veterans and LBS. Good guy, but they have an official walkout ceremony on the 20th, and Kane will be taking over after that. And they did get a $36,000 funding grant for some new equipment as well, so they're all, just like we're looking for assistance wherever we can get it, so are the departments that take care of us. And that basically is my report.
Thank you very much. Trustee Schaller, are there any questions?
Please. I'm sorry, one other, please. Karen and I are both involved. We're trying to update our emergency operating plan. Well, now the federal government has gotten involved in putting together, roles and resources on emergency management. They have a national engagement draft, which they're circulating. I attended a webinar. Karen and I are doing something in May with Lake County and FEMA on training before we do that. But if you, want to know what they're all talking about to update their emergency plan, we have a nice booklet to go over it. But as a result, once we get done with that, we'll be trying to update our plan, which basically, because we're a small municipality, we rely on the sheriff's department and the fire departments, but it's still a matter of we're in charge of declaring an emergency should it be needed. I've been here a number of years, we haven't needed it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't get a good tornado or an ice storm or a fire outside of proportions. We need to be prepared to put that plan in action and use the resources that we have. And another part of that is the accounting, too, of expenses that we would use as part of our involvement so that we can get recouped for some of those expenses. So it's a big exercise, but, Administrator Dalton Lang and myself are involved in it, and we'll report as we get to know more about it.
We'll get it done.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Questions for Trustee Schaller? We appreciate all of that very much. And last but certainly not least of our reports of the standing committee is Trustee Thompson,
Thank you, Mr.
Veterans
President.
Affairs and Special Events
Thank you.
Guru.
Yes, e-news. New subscribers. Through February, we now have 326 subscribers. We've met our goal of 325. Onward and upward, we'd like to have 335. So Lisa and I are working on that.
We'll do it.
Special events. Trustee Van Ryn's Zippy children's book will be the primary subject in the Village's May Shorelines article. And LBS's weekly bulletin will include info on the book and Trustee Van Ryn. What I'm trying to do, it's just a perfect opportunity. You know, LBS's average age is what now, 53, I think? Something, but anyway.
Your guess good as mine.
Yeah, wag.
Yeah, 63.
Anyway, there are a lot of people in Lake Barrington Shores who have grandchildren, okay, or young children, and this is a perfect book for them. And I'm just hoping that maybe this will provide some impetus, because what I'd like to do, if we can, is get have an invitation for her to, you know, to do an event there in the ballroom about children's books. But I don't know. We're working on that, so we'll see.
Tie it in with Breakfast with the Bunny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. You can dress as Zippy. You know.
Oh, there you go.
I'm continuing discussions with the Chicago Bears about village resident Cole Komet doing a charitable function at Friar Farm. I've made some significant progress. I'm actually in touch with the Bears person and his agent. It's only taken me, I think, 4 months. I'll remember that the Featherling Park Open House will be held Saturday, April 30th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come and enjoy the opening of another great addition to our open spaces. Village Administrator Carrington Dalton Lang and I have been slowly researching adding EV stations to Village Hall for some time. I attended a March 31 ComEd Zoom report on ComEd's beneficial electrification strategy, which is a discussion of their current strategy based upon Illinois legislation and policy regarding business electrification directed at businesses' EV and EV charge rebate programs. My report on the Zoom was sent to Karen, so if you're interested in it, she can get you a copy of it. And now we're taking it a couple steps further, and we have a Zoom coming up, was it next week?
I think so.
Yeah, next week with a company that does EV charging stations. So we're moving along with that. Also, Wild Onion, you know, the April 1 through 10, Lake County is Restaurant Week, and the Wild Onion Pub is in that. So if you go in the Wild Onion Pub, on the tables, they'll have a card, and you scan that card, and you get into a sweepstakes, I guess it is, to win, you know, a dinner or something like that. So I encourage everyone to go to Wild Onion Pub. They have great burgers, by the way, really good burgers. Veterans Affairs. Following up on last month's report on the prospective 5K race, we'll have the 5K race Sunday, May 29 at LBS. It begins at the the Marketplace Shopping Center at 8 a.m. with a memorial presentation and ceremony. Net proceeds are designed for the veterans and Tunnel to Towers. Also, we're encouraging people, obviously village residents and officials to sign up. You can go to memorial5k.com to sign up, and if you wish to, you can also donate on the same site. Sponsorships are obviously encouraged, and I wanted to thank Trustee Burke and Trustee Hayes for their very generous, donations to this. Trustee, Burke's, company logo will be on the back of the T-shirts. So make sure you sign up to run or walk, so you get one of those T-shirts.
I gotta go home tonight and make a logo. I'm gonna scratch one out.
You said there was an 8 AM?
Yes. And so, run and walk. Okay, and, if you're inclined to donate, I'm available to pick up donation checks payable to the Veterans Memorial 5K at your home or place of business at any time. Excuse me. Veterans July 4th Parade at LBS starts at 10 a.m. Monday, July 4th. The veterans welcome village vehicle participation, and of course, anyone who wants to be part of the crowds lining LBS roads. If you want to have a parade vehicle, decorated parade vehicle, please let me know no later than Tuesday, June 28th. Vehicle decorations are encouraged and will be vying for 2 pizza parties as best judged decorated vehicles. And that would be a pizza party, for example, if it happened to be Village Hall staff, then the entire staff would get a pizza party.
Woo-hoo.
Just as an example.
Yeah.
Can I borrow that convertible of yours?
Pardon me?
Can I borrow your convertible?
And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Thompson. Does anybody have questions for Trustee Thompson on his reports? Questions or comments? No? Okay. We'll keep right on moving forward. There is no old business tonight, so we'll move to agenda item 13, which is ordinances, of which we have one, which is staff compensation ordinance. Performance evaluations for the period March 1st, 2021 through March 1st, 2022 have been completed for village staff. It is my understanding that Trustee Hayes, who chairs our Finance, Human Resources, and Administration, has reached out to each trustee individual to discuss his recommendations for staff compensation. So, first, is that accurate? Has everyone here had a chance to talk to Trustee Hayes about his recommendations? Yes?
Yes.
Is there a need at this time for any further discussion about staff compensation? Just asking the question whether there is a need. If there is a need, we need to go into closed session. That's why I'm asking that we cannot discuss it if we're not in closed session.
No need.
No need?
No need.
No need? No need, so we can move forward then? Is there anything else to add to this, or are we good to go?
No, just a motion.
Okay, with that said, Chair would like a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-0-04,
04.
an ordinance to approve staff compensation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Van Ryn, second by Trustee Thompson.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Scheller?
Yes. Thank you. Approved.
Thank you.
Next item, resolutions. We have one, investment policy revision. Summary, Public Act 102-0285 was signed into law and became effective on August 6, 2021. The act amends the Public Funds Investment Act. Is there any additional discussion required?
I can give a tiny bit of color. It's basically housekeeping. So, Public Act 102-0285 was, well, you just read that, signed into law. The reason it's related to us is because it amended the Public Funds Investment Act. Our investment policy references that and only allows investments allowed in the Public Funds Investment Act. And it just basically, it did a small revision to allow for, which I'm not sure why they did this, they changed commercial paper. You could, up to before, you could invest in commercial paper up to 270 days of maturity. Now it can go up to 3 years. That does not, in fact, that will not impact our investment portfolio whatsoever. We don't invest in any corporate commercial paper. But it's just because we're referencing,
So we just had to point to it, something different and
It's just
reference
a
it,
new
but
act.
it doesn't change anything that
doesn't
we've
change
done
anything,
or
but it's, the act was amended.
constrain us in any way, right?
And I would like to thank trustee Hirsch for pointing this out, this act got passed, and that, to being brought up to date, so thank you
Just,
for
just
that.
are up to date, that's all.
Wait, did you just demote her to a trustee?
Did I
Right
say-
in front of everybody?
It's getting late.
That was a serious demotion right there that you just got.
I'm not sorry, Peggy.
She went from treasurer to trustee like that. Let me tell you what.
I don't live in the village, otherwise I would be very honored to fill the position.
Thank you for that. Any questions on this item? If no questions, then, Chair would like a motion, no, where am I? Yes. Chair would like a motion to approve Resolution 2022-R-06, a resolution amending the Village of Lake Barrington investment policy to include the updated Public Funds Investment Act as Attachment A to the investment policy. Do I have a motion?
moved.
Please.
Second.
Moved by trustee Schaller, seconded by trustee Van Ryn. Please call the vote.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 15, under new business, we have the 2022 resurfacing program contract award. In summary, the 2022 road program was advertised for bids and 5 proposals were received. Staff is recommending that the lowest qualified bidder, Geske and Sons, be awarded the contract. Do you have additional color on this, Administrator Dalton
No, other
Lane?
than Geske has done work for us in the past and has done very satisfactory work, and we're recommending approval of the entire package. The motion is actually in a couple parts, you'll see, because we have 2 resolutions we need to pass for using the motor fuel tax funds and the Rebuild Illinois funds, and then the authorization to allow me to execute the contract. So the whole recommended action would have to be read.
Okay, so this whole recommended action is going to be read, but are we actually, is it
If
one
you-
vote or 2 votes? I'm confused.
It's just one vote.
Oh, one vote on these 2 items. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Chair would like a motion to allow the village administrator to execute a contract with Geske and Sons, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $998,936.82. Further, authorize the village administrator to expend a contingency amount of up to 5%.
Read that part too.
Okay, up to 5%, which would be $49,947, to cover any additions or changes due to unforeseen conditions, and authorize the village administrator to execute the next necessary documents.
And
And, to approve resolution number 2022-R-
Lisa, what are the next 2 resolution numbers? It's not showing up on mine.
oh, it's,
708?
07 and 08, I believe.
Okay.
We just did 06, did we
Yeah,
not?
06, yeah, so it'd be 07.
2022-R-07 and 2022-R-08. A motor fuel tax resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code and rebuild Illinois resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code. Additionally, allow the, oh, that was what we already read, sorry. Oof,
I know, it's a long one.
it was a long one. I ran out of air at the end, which I know shocks everybody. Do I have such a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Van Ryn, seconded by trustee Thompson. Thank you.
Okay, trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
And trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. Under new business, item B, detention in natural area management. The village has a naturalized detention basin and a rain garden at the village hall property, and a naturalized area and detention basin at Friar Farm. Both of these areas require periodic weeding and stewardship. Do you have additional
Yeah, just,
commentary on this?
yeah, I typically get 3 to 4 year contracts from the Trillium to do this work because the contracts are built upon year after year. There's different things they do every year depending upon what time of year it is, what's growing, what's not growing, so it's a lot of stewardship. So, that's why this is a multi-year, contract.
Are there questions for the administrator on this issue? Okay, being none, Chair would like a motion to approve the agreements with Trillium Native Landscapes, Inc., per the proposals, and authorize the village administrator to execute the necessary documents. Do I have?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Schaller, seconded by trustee Thompson. Please call the vote.
Trustee Schaller?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Agenda item number 16 is the second opportunity for the public to address the village board, and being that there is no one here, we can skip over that. There is no need for a closed session tonight. There is no other, and there's other?
I just want to remind.
other.
I just want to remind everybody that your statement of economic interest in the revised form is due on April 30th, or before, so don't put it off to the end. And if you have a question about the new form, don't hesitate to call, because they used to call that form a none form, and it's not a none form anymore. You actually have to answer a few questions. And every one of your questions about the form are probably going to be related to your individual circumstances.
Right.
So don't hesitate to call me. Becky will be in the, out of the office for a couple of weeks, but she could, field the call too, so.
If you have not looked at it, it is quite different.
Yeah.
And it does take some
Thinking.
as well as probably some clarification, I would suggest, in terms
Yeah.
of, right?
Yeah.
So, and I would think that you would be an excellent person to call under those circumstances. And you should expect a call from me.
And I would offer a group thing, but I don't think each one of your questions are gonna be different.
Plus, we'd all have to talk about our
Yeah. Who wants to do
our
that?
stuff in front of each other.
Who wants to do that?
Well, it's a true story. I was going through email when I was down south, and that popped up, and I might have seen a reminder from Lisa, because she's always, so good at that. And I'm like, I'm just gonna get this done, right? So I just pop in there, because I had none already in my head.
Yeah, right.
Forgotten to change, like, I can do none. And I'm like, what is this form? And I kept reading it, and I'm like, forget it. I slammed my laptop. I go, that's for another day.
Yeah.
So, yes.
It's there's a certain frustration in the form, for sure.
Yeah, there's some ambiguity and some other things, so you'll have to take some time with that. Anyhow, thank you for making yourself available, and I highly recommend.
Oh, yes.
I'm on a blog basically with other municipal attorneys, and everyone's phones are ringing.
I'm sure they are. Well, thank you for that. And now, as President Richardson would say, his favorite time is adjournment of the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Unanimous.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Thompson,
Second?
seconded by trustee Schaller. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Meeting is adjourned.